Hello and welcome to another video from the Fan Pub. I've got Sean with me.
It's good to be back out, and today's video is all about...
Well, we're nearing August now, aren't we? So
Yeah, people are going to want
let's
to know
look
a
who's
lot of
going-
stuff.
Let's look at the top of the board and the top ADP risers and fallers.
Top 32? That kind of list? Or?
Yeah, we can do maybe top 20 for
Okay.
this video. Keep it short.
All right.
So we've got sack 1 at 1, no change. Got no problem with that.
Yeah, I don't disagree. I mean, only concern over him, like we've said in our previous videos, well worth a watch, is just simply because he's going to have to carry the team.
There's a lot of problems.
He's got to carry the team on his back, and I'm not saying he can't, and I'm not saying really.
I mean, he might even get more touches.
It could be that it could be an amazing year for him because he just has to carry everything. But I always worry that teams they've got a year of tape and they've got a year of information, and they know they haven't got much to worry about. So
can they stop him?
Well, anybody can be stopped. Any scheme can work. Yeah, I think you have to be honest. A running back cannot keep taking two yard hits behind the line and turn it into something. It's just mental. Think that's just going to carry on and on and on. It just doesn't happen because then teams can cheat and have 2 spies on you rather than 1 because they don't worry about other people.
Might have to have 9 on him the way the Giants are going.
Yeah, I'm not knocking him. I'm just saying you just have to be a little bit cautious. But is he a top 4 back? Absolutely. You're not going to lose it. You're going to be happy having him on your fantasy team.
Consensus at the moment is Zeke Elliott at number 2. I mean,
worrying.
That's quite surprising with the holdout.
Yeah, that's quite worrying. Considering Melvin Gordon, we'll talk about him in a bit, has moved down quite dramatically. To not see Zeke falling at all is a little bit of a concern. I mean, particularly now that they brought in Alfred Butler.
Alfred Morris.
Oh, sorry, I do apologise. Of course, Morris, not the Butler, but he's nicknamed the Butler, isn't he? So
yeah, Alfred from Batman.
So yeah, I mean, it is a worry, and this is who blinks first. So I mean, can you really seriously take Zeke at 2 and be confident? That worries me.
If you draft it at this point, it's quite hard.
It's a bit risky. I don't think I would do it personally, and I wouldn't recommend it to anybody to do. I get it. If he falls to a certain value, you can't pass it. I understand, but there's some risks.
Would you not rather take the next ones? McCaffrey's actually climbed above Kamara.
Yeah,
this is in standard as well, not But there's no problem with them at 3 and 4, is there really?
No, I mean
I'll have them at 2 and 3.
I'm happy to take either of those. I would be very happy if they're on my fantasy team. I'm not going to skip a beat. They're easy to pick. You can argue which one you prefer. I've got my thoughts. I'm sure you've got yours.
Where would you have Ezekiel Elliott currently with the news?
Well, he wouldn't. I wouldn't be putting him inside that top 5, 6, 7 picks. He'd have to fall backwards because
too much risk.
Too much risk for me. I mean, look, if it's a small league, 10-man, 12-man league, okay, you've got a couple of extra rounds to make up for the risk. Okay, you can take Elliott at 2 if you want to. You reach a 14 and 16-man team. Are you seriously telling me you're going to risk your entire top draft? Because if it goes wrong, say he holds out the whole year, say he does a Le'Veon Bell, says I'm holding out, that's it. You've called my bluff. I'm not coming back. Go on then, run your team with Alfred and see how you get on. That has huge ramifications, not just for him, obviously, who picked him, but all the players that are in that team. Has huge ramifications, good and bad fantasy-wise. So I'm worried about him straight away, and I'd have to swerve.
Okay, we have David Johnson at 5.
Comfortable, very good. Yeah,
he's gone at 3, and we've been talking him up at 5. Really,
yeah, I'm very happy picking him. I'm again if he falls onto one of my fantasy teams in that top sort of 5, 6 picks, I'm very happy taking him. I mean, if his floor's 196 last year, in standard, I'm happy to take it.
Because the team can't be any worse.
Can't be any worse. And I think it could be a lot better, and I could see him getting an extra 30, 40
and
fantasy
Kyler Murray
points.
could well help that.
Could help massively. So feeling a bit more confident around David this year.
DeAndre Hopkins is 6. Now, he had a separate shoulder.
I think that's a little bit wrong, actually. I think I totally get that he's got to be in that top 7. I know it's going to sound really pedantic, but that's really what we're supposed to do. Is I would put Adams ahead of him minutely, and then drop him to 7.
Places, actually.
Yeah, I would minutely ahead because he is coming back from this shoulder surgery. That is a little concerning, but not enough that I'm worried. Because he's a real competitor, he's a real baller.
So you take Adams over Hopkins?
I would at the moment, yeah. Or coming into draft point, yes, I would.
And slightly surprisingly, but you don't mind either, really, do you?
No, I don't mind either of them.
Number 8, Travis Kelce.
Mental. It's mental. Look, it's mental. Look, the best thing of all, right? It's mental. It's absolutely. It is honestly. This is mental stuff from fantasy.
In standard, this is
mental, right? Last year, you could argue like we were the highest. Well, I was certainly the highest in my bold prediction. I put him down as the number 1 tight end for fantasy. I made a prediction on his yards. I made a prediction on his touchdown. You can have a look at that video, and it is really close.
He was 5 yards out.
Right, it's so close. Now this year, I'm very optimistic about his chances of being the number one tight end in fantasy, of course, but we don't need to talk about that this year because that boat has well sailed. We don't need to do it. In fact, actually,
He's the biggest climber. He's
the
got 9 spots.
The ADP is doing all the talking for us. We don't need to predict that now. The trouble is, you're paying that price. He's got to give you 200 fantasy points. Now, you might argue, well, it's only 4 short. However, listen, let me just tell you something, right? If you've got a small league, I can argue, I can see the logic of taking the tight end there. I can see it. I understand it. You go to 12 man, which is normal. 12 is about the average. 14 or 16, suddenly this is a big deal because it gets harder to find those running back nuggets. There's only so many of them. Same with wide receivers. There's only so far they stretch. And you miss out on one of them early, you have to make up for it elsewhere.
It's the same argument as we used to have with Gronk, though, where position scarcity.
Yeah, I don't buy into
it. Can give you a real advantage on the position.
I don't buy into it. I just don't, because if you give up a tight end to scarcity, no disrespect, but your competitors, you might have the best one in the league, but nearly everybody else is like got lower numbers. By nearly everybody, bar 1 or 2, 3 people in your league will have tight end great numbers, and the rest will have average. So why do I need to chase the 3 who've got the best? Why wouldn't I want to outmuscle them elsewhere on running backs? I want running backs that can give me 240, 260, 280. I can make up for those points with a decent running back. If David Johnson has a good year, comes back and gives me what I think he's capable of, then he's going to outperform me by 60 fantasy points. That's so big. I've already made up for the tight end move by just having
the right 90 on the tight end.
I can take Le'Veon Bell and probably give me close to it. 240.
Leave Bell alone.
So
number 9 and 10. Well, let's talk about them together. Julio
Thanks
Jones
for taking down my rage. I was getting a bit angry with that.
Julio Jones and Le'Veon.
I'm a bit surprised.
You're allowed to be angry. That's what we want to see.
I'm a bit surprised Julio Jones has moved up so many places, but I guess this is uncertainty with draft boards and people picking what I would call safe picks or people that generally.
You've got Gordon holding out as we speak, Zeke holding out as we speak, Michael Thomas
I do like Julio Jones. I preferred him at 11 and 12 if I'm honest, but at
he's
9,
at 4 from 13.
At 9. It gets a little bit more risky, but he is a 200-point player, and I can't argue. What will he do this year? Will he give you the 1,400 plus yards?
More, yeah.
Will he give you 1,400 yards? Probably. Will he give you 8 touchdowns? Most likely. Is that bad? No. I mean, it might be a fraction under 200 when it's all said and done, but frankly, he's such an elite player that if consistency shines through, then you're going to be okay with it. It's not a pick that I'm worried about. It's not a pick that's massively going to blow the numbers apart, but it's certainly solid.
Okay, well, let's move on to 10 and Lev Bell.
Yeah. He should be moving up.
You don't like him, do you?
No.
You're worried about him?
I am worried about a player that takes a year off worries me a lot, but we are at a point now where he might have taken a year off, but he's actually here this year.
Yeah.
So it's that.
At least he's here.
At least he's here.
Some others aren't.
And some of them I'm not sure they're going to be. So Lev Bell has to move up the draft board. The thing is, my concerns are, I know he's not as old as I thought he was. I take that on board. It's still okay. He took a year out. When people take a year out, that's a problem. It's not even in the same team.
He's only 26 in fantasy years with that year out.
Yeah, true.
Will that work? I
don't think it works that way. You only play 1 year of college. Does that count? No, it doesn't. The worry is taking a year out. You're now with the Jets. I can see you will be their workhorse. So I'm okay with it at that ADP.
Plus he's a 3 down back.
Yeah, I'm okay with that ADP at 10. I think it's pretty solid, pretty fair.
It scares you though, doesn't it?
It scares me a bit to the degree where I am worried about him enough that I'm a bit edgy and edgy enough to think not sure on him, and that worries me. But I can see him actually climbing in some of the bigger leagues. That's the concern. Yeah, I don't think the ADP has finished.
Well, let's talk about the next 2 because these are 2 you're very worried about in 11 and 12, and that's Mixon and James Conner.
I'm not touching either of those. You can have
but
them.
these are your number 11 and 12
I'm not
overall
touching
fantasy.
Yeah, I'm not touching. Conner, no.
Why not?
Let me tell you something, right? I'm not going to give too much away here, but we were the most bullish on him last year, as you know, about Conner, and this year we're going to be talking about him a bit more detail later on, but I'm not going anywhere
for the wrong reasons.
For the wrong reasons this year. I'm keeping well away from him. And as for Mixon, I don't like the offense. I don't like the red rifle. I don't like the coordinator.
Don't like AJ Green's gone down.
I don't like the fact Green's gone down. I don't like so much about this team. Boyd is not the same without Green, and we've already spoke about this before. Boyd wasn't the same without Green, and
some people are arguing and it is a small sample size. So.
Yeah, but we can't argue with what we've seen. All we can go on is what we've seen, and he wasn't able at this stage to take the number 1 duties comfortably. Some people ease into it really quickly, like Randy Moss is a great example. Terrell Owens quickly. Des Bryant. They want the ball. They are the one. They're prepared to put the team on their back. They're prepared to be that. I don't mind a prima donna wide receiver that does it. If I think Boyd is a great number 2. I think he's going to mature into a very good number 2, but at the moment hasn't shown the maturity or
Mixon
class
Connor,
to take
yes or
the
no,
one.
at 11 and 12.
No chance.
Okay.
No way.
The next 2, but even 2 others that aren't.
Other people can have them, and they'll see them still there on the board on draft day.
13 and 14, and this, we're talking in the first round, early second round.
Yeah.
In the 12-team league, Odell Beckham and Michael Thomas.
Yeah, I mean, I'm okay with both of them here. We are now looking at the draft board. You have to look at the draft board at a different position, a different reason now. If you compare, we're talking standard for this video. You can do the same with PPR very easily. It's very easy to work out. But if you look at the points scored for running backs last year and wide receivers, we're talking about the top ones here. There is a point, we're at that point here, where most of the receivers, when they go over 200, and I would argue both of these wide receivers are capable of 200 points. We'll talk a bit more about Odell in a minute.
And Beckham's slowly rising because he was 15 or 16. He's now up to 13, and it could get even higher.
Well, they're both very capable players. Both going to be on offenses. You can argue that are going to be high octane offenses. You can argue whether you think the Browns are an high octane offense or not, if you like. But I think we've seen a glimpse of Baker, and I think he's going to be very good for this year, Baker. And I think the beneficiary...
let's have 15 in as well, because that's Nick Chubb.
So I'm happy with both those guys. I'll happily take them.
Even though Thomas is holding out at the moment.
Yeah, I'd even take OBJ, which will surprise people. And the reason I take him is I know we've already mentioned in a previous video, we talked about AJ Green and his injury woes, and I touched on it there, that, I think, re-examining this a little bit more carefully about Beckham and the injuries he's had, one of them wasn't his fault, it was a bad injury, and one of them I felt he took more time out than he needed. And I don't think his head was at the Giants at that stage anyway, so it's difficult to work out what was going on. So my argument is this: can OBJ give you number 1 wide receiver numbers? Yes.
Well, he has done that.
Yeah, he's capable.
Although we do have to go back a few
We have to
years.
go back 3 years. But is he capable of it? Yes. This isn't a situation where when he plays, the numbers are all over the place. Look, when he plays, he is elite. He's young enough. He's in a much better situation. He's surrounded by people who love him. Baker's going to bring the best out of him. I think it's a good pick for this year. I'm very happy with that.
Michael Thomas, you're not worried about the holdout?
It concerns me enough that he's at the right point. I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it, but I am worried that I want to see a bit more news before drafting, because if we reach the Saturday and I've heard nothing, he ain't coming on my board. So I won't touch him. I'll take other options.
So you really want him back?
I need some news before
you draft
I draft
him with confidence.
And that's a fair shout as well for the video,
is, yeah.
because this is how you should think when you're going to draft, because I'm being deadly honest. I won't do anything I'm not going to say I'm going to do. It's not like you're going to look at my draft board and go, oh, you took Mixon.
I mean, we are drafting early, so it's quite... That's why
you will get to see that draft board as well, and you can have a look at the teams that were drafted. And, as we've said previously, your
Nick Chubb as well at 15.
Yeah,
up 3.
Yeah, it's a worry. The trouble is, we know from our drafting, if we're honest, that's about right, actually, because we know that about last year, 12 running backs went off the board in the first round of a 16-man live league, and that was up 1 from the previous year because scarcity of position.
So Chubb will be one of those.
So Chubb would be one of them, and he would be at about 15 or 16. It's how you like them. Debate is debatable. But I'm really worried about that.
I think the Browns in general are a team hyped. Mayfield's hyped.
Yeah.
Beckham's hyped. Chubb's hyped.
Yeah, the worry with Chubb is simple. We've already talked about it in another video. Look, while he plays, I've got no qualms. I think there's some real good running back 1 numbers in there. But once Hunt come back, you have to be very worried that this is at the key moment of your season. This is the last few weeks. You could need those wins.
You got an elite running back coming in for the playoff weeks.
You could need that running back for the playoff weeks. And suddenly the numbers drop by 5 or 6 carries, 2 or 3 catches. And I'm like, oh, God.
You lose the points when you need them.
I need touchdowns more than I do yards and numbers then, and they're not there. So, no, he worries me. And unless ADP, this is really difficult. So it's a swerve for me.
On to the next one. Juju Smith-Schuster, 16.
I get why he's climbed up into this point. He was in the second round of most draft boards, but I get why he's climbing up. He hasn't, for me, he's not done it on his own. This is the same thing as we kind of have said about...
But watching him, he looks like he might be capable.
He does look like he's capable, and he did very well last year. It's just...
He's a clear number 1 there, isn't he?
I worry about this ADP.
Ben's a good QB.
Yeah, he is. But I worry about this ADP. I wonder what's going to happen. I've got concerns over Connor. So
just because of pure uncertainty, really.
There's a lot of... you've got to take best corners now. There's a lot that worries me about the ADP. Can he hit 200? Yes, he's capable. Could it be a 185, 190 situation? It could. You haven't lost a lot.
Could it be a 250 situation?
No.
What?
No way.
Why not?
Not on his own. He's not carrying that.
He could get peppered with catches.
Standard 250.
Yeah.
What's he going to have? 1500.
Tyreek Hill had 250,
He's gonna have
248.
250 yard, 12 touchdown.
Who
type
else
of
is
year.
going to catch the ball there?
Well, it doesn't mean he's going to get them all.
No,
So
but he's going to get a good share.
look,
isn't he?
it's okay at 16. It's okay, but it's not. It's
worried?
not. I'm worried that it isn't as good as I would like. It's solid. It almost lends itself to a zero RB
Which
strategy.
players can we draft without worrying about in that first round?
Well, we've already talked about some of them. I mean, there's quite a few.
They're quite high though, aren't they?
They are higher up the board. Once you reach the second half of that board, it starts to get a bit more wary.
It's tough choices.
The second round begins to shake it all out. Now, I will naturally the bold prediction videos will give you when they come out later. They're going to give you players that I trust. So there are players. I'm being serious as well when I say this. So Al knows this. There are players, and I would elevate one of them guaranteed into the first round if required. Hopefully, it's not required. If it is, I'll take it because I know it'll get me 200 points. That's what I want. I want a 200-point player. Do I want him in the first? No. But if I got no choice, then that's exactly what I will do. And that's what you have to do with draft boards. You have to be prepared to say, will this player hit those numbers? Forget ADP at some times. You have to say, the ADP... We had predictions last year. You'll do this all the time. You'll do your drafting, whether it's through NFL.com or whatever site it might be. And after you've drafted your team, they will give you a prediction. And last year's great example, I knew my team was good. It told me I was a 2-11 team. I ended up being 11-2. That's about as bad as well. I didn't make loads of changes. So it just shows you have to know what you want, not what they tell you. So don't worry about what they say. Don't panic on that. Focus on what you want. If you believe in something, you go after it. And that's what I'll do. Yeah, I mean, there's some good players there. We've touched on them. But there's also, I can elevate if I needed to. But I don't hope I don't have to because I'd rather get the value later.
I think it gave me 11-5 and I went 4-12.
Not great.
Due to
injuries with the killer.
And bad luck, actually.
Yeah, schedule bad luck and injuries kill.
Not that anyone's going to cry for me.
No, they didn't.
No, they didn't.
They didn't cry.
They're brutal.
They were very horrible.
And you wouldn't expect anything less.
No, it's a very fun draft. It's horrible because you know how hard it is on a Sunday, but we do a lot of drafts, so it's good fun. There's always something. Mate, a bad team somewhere it's bad enough.
Well, that concludes really the first round. Maybe we'll have
do another video
2.
for the second.
Maybe do a part 2 of it if someone
thoughts.
See who else has been.
Yeah, your thoughts on this ADP very appreciated. Do you believe in these risers? Do you think that's right? Are you comfortable?
Do you trust? Who do you trust? Do you trust Travis Kelce at 8?
It's mental now, isn't it? That's mental.
Plenty do. Plenty of people talking.
Good luck to them. It's all about scarcity position in tight end. Just go back and look at the numbers on tight ends and tell me outside the top 3, and we can argue whether those top 3 will be the top 3. Yeah. Is there any point fighting over them now? Forget it. That's one of the mistakes of fantasy, I think. I'm not going to worry about it.
Nail your colours to the mast and let us know what you think. So if you've enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up.
And we'll see you in the next one.
Yeah. Subscribe and get ready for some more good content. Thanks for watching.